Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, February 25th, and welcome to Panther News Network. I'm Journee Strode.
And I'm Zacaria Mehn. Here's what's happening today.
Coming up first in our latest update, the Texas Department of State Health Services, or the DSHS, said there were 124 cases of measles across Texas and the South Plains. DSHS said 18 patients were hospitalized, and 5 of those cases were vaccinated, but the rest were unvaccinated. The disease is highly contagious, and the best way to prevent getting sick is to be immunized with 2 doses of a vaccine against measles. Health officials previously warned a person from the outbreak area who was later diagnosed with measles had visited San Marcos and San Antonio during the weekend of February 14th to the 16th. While they were contagious in New Mexico, officials said the case count was up to 9. Health officials said all the cases were in Lea County, and there were no deaths reported so far, just hospitalizations. A free measles vaccination clinic was set up for February 26th and 27th at the Hobbs Public Health Office. Lubbock is also hosting free vaccine clinics at 2015 50th Street. The DSHS is working with local health departments to investigate the outbreak. Here are some symptoms to look out for that appear 7 to 21 days after contact with the virus. High fever, cough, runny nose, red watery eyes are symptoms that are most common. And 2 to 3 days after symptoms begin, tiny white spots or Koplik spots may appear inside the mouth. And then 3 to 5 days after symptoms begin, a rash that appears flat and red may appear on the face and hairline. This rash tends to spread downward to the neck, trunk and arms, legs and feet. You might be wondering, what do I do if exposed or symptomatic? First, isolate yourself immediately to prevent spreading of the virus to others, and then contact your healthcare provider by phone to arrange testing in a way that minimizes exposure to others, and do not show up unannounced as it is contagious.
In breaking news, the U.S. Supreme Court has cleared the way for Oklahoma to move forward with the execution of death row inmate Richard Glossip, rejecting his latest appeal in a case that has drawn national attention. Glossip was convicted in the connection to the 1997 murder of motel owner Barry Van Treese, though he has long maintained his innocence. His legal team, along with prominent advocates, have argued that crucial evidence was withheld during his trial and that the case against him is deeply flawed. Despite bipartisan calls for clemency, including from Republican lawmakers and even Oklahoma's own Attorney General, the Supreme Court declined to intervene. This decision effectively removes one of the final legal barriers preventing the state from carrying out his execution. Glossip's attorneys say they are exploring any remaining options to save his life, while opponents of the death penalty argue that this case highlights the risk of executing potentially innocent individuals. For now, Oklahoma officials have not yet set a new execution date, but with today's ruling, time may be running out for Richard Glossip.
Next up in PVAMU news, an event is coming up soon on March 4th named Tech Tuesday. Established in 1970, the Black Caucus of the American Library Association, or BCALA, was formed to serve as an advocate for the development, promotion, and improvement of library services and resources to the nation's African American community, and to provide leadership for the recruitment and professional development of African American librarians. Wanda K. Brown is the Director of the Library Services at the C.G. O'Kelly Library at Winston-Salem State University and former Associate Dean of Wake Forest University's Z. Smith Reynolds Library. She will be speaking at this event on March 4th, and Brown has spent more than 40 years in the profession. In June 2019, she assumed the role of president of the American Library Association, or ALA. As ALA president, Brown was the chief elected officer for the largest library association in the world. To register for Tech Tuesday, the link is provided on our own website, pvamu.edu.
In local news, a major legal downfall for a former public official. The former mayor of Hempstead, Texas, Michael Wolfe, has been sentenced to 2 years in federal prison for his role in a bribery scheme involving city contracts. Federal investigators say that Wolfe accepted thousands of dollars in kickbacks while in office, betraying the trust of the very people he was elected to serve. Prosecutors revealed that Wolfe used his position to steer lucrative city contracts towards businesses that paid him under the table. The scheme unraveled after a lengthy investigation, ultimately leading to his guilty plea on federal charges. Wolfie will now serve his time behind bars, followed by 3 years of supervised release. His sentencing serves as a stark reminder that corruption, even in small-town government, will not go unnoticed. For now, city officials in Hempstead are working to restore public trust and ensure stronger safeguards against future misconduct.
This is Panther News Network. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Thank you for staying with us. Here's your remaining news for the day.
Coming up next in HBCU news, Tennessee State University's successful end of the year giving campaign raised over $600,000 to support graduating seniors. This accomplishment was largely made possible by the matching contribution pledge made by renowned alumni Amos Otis and Brenda Otis. They promised on Giving Tuesday that they would match every donation. Under the hashtag FutureReadyTSU campaign and hashtag Close the Gap, aims to alleviate the financial challenges faced by students nearing graduation. The campaign will significantly impact this initiative thanks to the Otises and the overwhelming response from alums and supporters. And I quote, "As an alumnus myself, I am extremely proud of the fact that alumni giving has increased from previous years," shared interim President Dwayne Tucker. Tennessee State University is a great institution, and with continued alumni and community support, this university will continue to be a key part of the community and this city's growth. The Otis family has long supported TSU, and Amos established So Brand Inc. in 1987, and this is the company's president and CEO. The company specializes in global bioscience, logistics, and safe mail services for government and commercial clients. Amos is also the vice chairman of the TSU Foundation Board. His wife, Brenda, is a retired broadcast television production and management professional with experience at major networks like ABC, CBS, and NBC. She has also played a key role in creating BET News. Each dollar raised was a testament to the power of the TSU community, said Dr. Lolita Toney, who is the vice president of institutional advancement. Every gift, no matter the size, reflects a shared belief in our students and their ability to change the world. The campaign's success proves the long-lasting impact of alum involvement in creating brighter futures for our students.
In HBCU news, a major controversy is unfolding as Black lawmakers are calling out the U.S. Department of Agriculture over its decision to cancel a scholarship program for students at historically Black colleges and universities. The move comes in response to an executive order signed by President Trump, which restricts federal funding for diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. The USDA's 1890 National Scholars Program, which has long provided financial support to students at HBCUs pursuing careers in agriculture, was suddenly scrapped, sparking outrage from the members of the Congressional Black Caucus and civil rights advocates. Lawmakers say the decision unfairly targets Black students and threatens opportunities for future generations looking to enter the field. Critics argue that the cancellation is just one example of how anti-DEI policies are negatively impacting communities of color, particularly in higher education. They are now calling on the Biden administration and Congress to intervene and restore the program, emphasizing the vital role that HBCUs play in developing Black professionals in agriculture and other industries. The USDA has yet to issue a full response, but pressure is mounting for the department to reverse course as the debate continues. HBCU leaders and student advocates say they won't back down in their fight to protect scholarship opportunities for Black students.
Moving on to entertainment news for the day, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, who star in the Best Picture nominated blockbuster, are set to perform at the Academy Awards on Sunday. According to a news release, Doja Cat, Lisa of Blackpink, Queen Latifah, and Grammy-nominated artist Ray will also be taking the stage. Unlike previous years when the nominees for Best Song were performed, this year's live performance will be celebrating the filmmaking community and some of its legends, the release read. The Academy did not specify what songs they'll be performing, but the ceremony will also feature a special performance by the Los Angeles Master Chorale. Arrivo and Grande are the only two Oscar nominees among this year's slate of performers. They're also nominated in the lead actress and supporting actress categories, respectively, for their performances in Wicked. If Arrivo scores an Oscar win on Sunday, she will achieve EGOT status, joining fewer than 30 artists who have each won Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Awards. Wicked earned 10 Oscar nominations this year, including Best Picture, Original Score, and several nods in the technical categories. Comedian Conan O'Brien will serve as host for the first time, and the Oscars will air this Sunday on ABC at 7 p.m. Eastern Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Time.
Hip-hop fans, get ready for a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Two legendary rap groups, Wu-Tang Clan and Run the Jewels, are joining forces for what's being called the Final Chamber Tour, a must-see event celebrating decades of hip-hop excellence. The tour, announced earlier today, will take the groups across North America, delivering high-energy performances and classic hits that have shaped the genre. Wu-Tang Clan, the iconic collective behind timeless tracks like Cream and Protect Your Neck, continues to leave an undeniable mark on music and culture. Meanwhile, Run the Jewels, the powerhouse duo of Killer Mike and EIP, have built a reputation for their hard-hitting beats, razor-sharp lyricism, and socially conscious anthems. With both acts known for their electrifying stage presence, fans can expect a tour unlike any other. While full tour dates and locations have yet to be revealed, excitement is already building and tickets are expected to sell out fast. This marks a major moment in hip-hop history. Two generations of influential artists uniting for an unforgettable show. Stay tuned for more details on dates, venues, and ticket sales in the coming weeks. But one thing is certain, this is a tour you won't want to miss.
This is your news for today. Be sure to keep watching to see more of the Panther News Network team with our daily segments. Take it away, guys.
Good evening. I'm Chloe Stubblefield, and this is A Bone to Pick, where we address issues affecting our student body here at Prairie View A&M University. Today, we're tackling a problem that's been quite literally leaving students stranded. If you live off campus, you already know the struggle. You wake up early, get to the shuttle stop on time, and then you wait, and wait, and wait some more. When the shuttle finally does arrive, it's packed to the brim, and guess what? You're not getting on. Now you're running late to class, scrambling for a backup plan, or forced to spend money on an Uber you shouldn't even need. Sound familiar? Well, that's because PVMU's shuttle system has been failing off-campus students, and it's time we talk about it. Let's start with the biggest issue. There simply aren't enough shuttles to accommodate the number of students who rely on them. PVMU has grown, and off-campus housing like Panther Hill, the Gates, and University Trails has filled up with students who need reliable transportation to and from campus. But instead of expanding the shuttle service to keep up, it feels like we're still working with the same system from years ago, except now way more students are competing for a ride. Then there's the unpredictability. Some mornings the shuttles come back to back. Other days you're standing there for 20 minutes with no sign of one. And when it finally shows up, it's full. It doesn't matter if you got to the stop early. If the shuttle is packed, you're out of luck. Now you're left with two choices. Wait even longer for the next one, or start walking, hoping to make it to class before your professor locks the door. And let's talk about that parking. For off-campus students, the obvious alternative to shuttles should be driving, right? Well, good luck finding a parking spot. PVMU's parking situation is a disaster on its own, with more permits being sold than available spots and a parking layout that seems to encourage chaos. So even if you do have a car, that doesn't mean you'll make it to class on time. The lack of reliable shuttles is disruptive. Off-campus students shouldn't have to plan their entire day around whether or not the shuttle might work in their favor. They shouldn't have to choose between being late or spending money on ride shares because the university hasn't provided a reliable solution. So what's the fix? First, PVAMU needs to expand its shuttle fleet. More students than ever rely on these shuttles, so adding more buses and increasing route frequency is a no-brainer. Second, the university should invest in real-time shuttle tracking systems, something students can check on, an app to see exactly when the next shuttle is arriving, instead of standing outside hoping for the best. Third, there needs to be a better system for ensuring that all off-campus locations are properly serviced, so students are stuck waiting while shuttles sit empty on less used routes. And for students, keep speaking up. Talk to SGA, reach out to administration, and let them know that this is a priority. Change doesn't happen in silence, and if enough students demand better, the university will have no choice but to listen. PVMU students deserve a transportation system that actually works. No more missed classes, no more running to campus in heat, and no more wasting money on Ubers that shouldn't be necessary. It's time for the university to step up and provide a shuttle system that meets the need of its growing student body. Until then, set your alarms early, PV, because at this rate, getting to class on time is still a gamble. I'm Chloe Stubblefield, and this has been A Bone to Pick. Stay safe out there, and good luck catching that ride.
Hello, my name is Justin Lewis, and welcome back to For the Culture. Let's get started. We will always root for a black person who's doing good or representing us in any way. A win is a win. But what's very acknowledgeable and noble is giving back to the community. One queen of color did just that and more. Ruth J. Simmons was born on July 5, 1945 in Grapeland, Texas. She moved to Houston 7 years later in 1952. Simmons graduated at the top of her class from Phyllis Wheatley High School in 1963. She then received her bachelor's associate in 1967 from Dillard University and her MA and PhD in Romance languages and literature from Harvard in 1970 and 1973. Simmons started as an assistant professor of French at the University of New Orleans in 1973, then was promoted to assistant dean of their College of Liberal Arts 2 years later. In 1977, she was hired by California State University Northridge, where she was an administrative coordinator for their National Endowment for the Humanities Liberal Studies 1978, when she became acting director of international programs and associate professor of Pan-African Studies. In 1979, Simmons joined the University of Southern California as an assistant and then associate dean of graduate studies. She was there until 1983. When she was hired as Princeton University's director for studies for their new residential college, Butler College. From 1985 to 87, she was the director of Afro-American Studies and became the associate dean of faculty at Princeton University. In 1995, she became the first African-American woman to head a major college or university upon being named president of Smith College. She established the first engineering program at a women's college. She held the position until 2001, when she was elected president of Brown University, making her the first African-American woman to head an Ivy League institution. She raised a record amount of money and established a need-blind undergraduate admission standard. She stepped down in 2012, remaining a professor of comparative literature and African studies. In 2017, Simmons became interim president before being named president of the school, making her their first woman president. Under her presidency, the endowment of Prairie View grew by 40%. She became CBS Woman of the Year in 1996, the United Negro College Fund's President's Award in 2001, and was awarded National Humanities Medal by President Joe Biden in 2024. The list of achievements can go on and on. She will forever be known as the woman who looked out for not just black students, but all students throughout the country, and will go down as one of the greatest presidents Prairie View ever had. We will forever appreciate her help and courage. Thank you for listening. I'm Justin Lewis, and this is For the Culture.
Good afternoon, Panthers. This is your PV weather update. I'm your host, Kazadi Evans, and let's see if this week weather will bring all sunshines or will be running for cover. Either way, I got you covered. Today, we had a foggy conditions this morning, but don't worry, it had cleared up by this afternoon, giving us mostly sun skies and high of 73. As night falls, expect partly cloud skies with patchy fog and a low around 51. Tomorrow, we have another foggy start to the day, but once that lifts, we are looking at a beautiful sunny afternoon with a warm high of 77. The evening brings in increasing clouds of a low of 55, so you might need a light jacket. For Thursday, the 27th, it cools down a bit with plenty of sunshine and a high near 67. The night will mostly clear with temperature dipping to 43, making a crispy evening. Then going into Friday, a wonderful end to the work week. Expect plenty of sunshines and a high near 70. The night stays clear and cool with lows around 45. Perfect weather for an evening stroll. Heading into the weekend will pleasant conditions with mild temperatures. Saturday will be partly cloudy with highs in the low 70s, while Sunday remains comfortable and dry, making it a great time for outdoor plans. That's your forecast this week, Panthers. This was your PV weather. I'm your host, Kazadi Evans. Stay safe and enjoy the week.
Well, that concludes our show for today. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter at KPVU-TV. This was Panther News Network. I'm Journee Strode.
And I'm Zacaria Mehn. Have a great day and see you next time.